Good evening, San Bernardino. I hope you guys are having a super great Tuesday. If you haven't, I hope that you remember to vote. You still have time. So let me make sure we are live and everybody can see what we're about to do with our agenda review. I know I didn't post our time for today, but I really wasn't sure what time I was getting home. At a lot on my schedule. So don't worry if you're not catching this live. It will be posted on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course here on Facebook. So um, there's it's a larger agenda, but it's not like a super detailed agenda. So we'll get into it. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the chat and we will begin. Okay. So here we go. All right. So we have a pretty heavy closed session agenda, which will begin at 3 p.m. So 2 hours instead of our normal hour. If there's anything that you want to specifically comment on the following items, you can come and speak to any of these. So we have a conference with legal for Christina Neberto and that ongoing case. Then there is conference with legal counsel, significant exposure litigation on 2 other cases. And then there's conference with legal on anticipated litigation on my claim. So I can't talk to you about that. I'm not at liberty right now, but I hope they have just an absolutely fabulous time discussing that issue. And then there is conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation, one case that we've kind of been continually going over. And then we are doing our 3-month public employee evaluation of the city manager, Mr. Levitt. So if there's anything there that you want to talk about, you can also, like for the cases with case names, you can look them up and see how those are going. So yeah, pretty big stuff to talk about as always. And then we will be back in open session at 5 p.m. We've got our invocation and pledge of allegiance. If there is anything that's decided in closed session, then they will report it out and you guys will know what's going on there as much as you can know. Then we have 3 presentations. So we'll be doing a presentation to San Bernardino Community College District. And then 2 citizens of the month, Andy Fuentes from San Bernardino High School and Johnny Carrera from Angel Heart Bio Trauma. So you can definitely come and celebrate any one of those 3 if you want, or all 3 of them. And then at 7, which is, or as soon as we're done with those, I guess, we'll go right into our public hearings. And so we have an appeal for a conditional use permit and public convenience or necessity. And so someone is appealing the denial of their alcohol beverage permit to sell beer and wine. And so we will hear presentations on that, on whether or not we should take it or leave it. Currently in that area, there are an overage amount of wine and beer permits within a certain distance of each other. So we will see where this goes and what, if anything, can be presented that should make it approved versus denied. And then item number 5 is a public annexation for Cajon Industrial Park in Ward 6. And so we'll be hearing whether or not there is support to annex this particular property. So those will be the 2 public hearings. You can sign up independently of regular public comments and give your perspective on either one of those, and that's fine. And then we will have our city manager update where he'll give all the good stuff that's going on. And then it'll be time for public comments for items that are on or off the agenda. And then we have a pretty big consent calendar, so we'll go down. So we're still approving minutes from 2023, 2024, 2025, and from those meetings. And then we are approving an agreement with Mandeville Modular for the Navigation Center for modular units, extending the contract term through December 31st of 2026 and increasing not to exceed the amount by $224,406.14 and approving change order for $214,442. I'm sorry, 214,420. There you go, for project contingencies. And so, as you guys know, the Navigation Center is our homeless, basically our homeless shelter that we are putting into space transitional, however that's going to end up working itself out. And so we have until December 31st of 2026 to build this. So, and then there is going to be like an overall update when we get back at some point about the Navigation Center and homelessness in general. So that's the real one I'm waiting for. Then we have an investment policy statement update. So just looking to broaden our horizons, always in reevaluation of our investments. Then a resolution to resolve the recognized obligation payment schedule, which is our ROPS. So after the dissolution of so after the dissolution of our like reinvestment agencies, and that's not the word, but that's what it is. The city established successor agencies. And so, I'm sorry, after the dissolution of redevelopment agencies throughout the state of California, the city created its own successor agencies. And a part of those successor agencies, there was an acquired debt. And so the city has been continually paying off that debt. And so this is a part of the ROPS report that we see, which is our obligation payment schedule. And it's good. We're down to I think our last $2.5 million of payments, which I believe when I was sitting in there, we had initially started at 10 million. So we're doing well and we're moving forward, which is good. That fiscal responsibility is super, super important. And then we are approving updates to the MOU with the San Bernardino Police Officers Association. For those of you that asked, this is just wording only, and the difference between being called a union and an association. So nothing that we didn't already pre-approve. And then if you guys saw my post a week ago or so, Supervisor Joe Baca Jr. has graciously given Blair Park $12,000 for upgrades into the batting cages. And so this is just us accepting that money so that the city will do the work in our park. And that's really awesome of him, and I appreciate that. And then acceptance and approval for the Older California Act Nutritional Service Grant. So we received a grant in the amount of $90,000 for our seniors. So that's really, really great. And we will be taking that money in. And then there was a technical issue on the San Manuel Community Grant Fund that, if you remember, maybe a month or two ago by now, that we are increasing what we received by $838,258.33. So for this year. And so that's got to be, the allocation has to be put forward. And then an award and agreement for the construction of the Rudy Hernandez gym flooring and the replacement of McWill Sports surfaces in the amount of $256,800.60. So that's really good. It's how I'm always happy to see that our rec centers and community centers and all of this stuff are moving forward. And that especially that we're keeping our contracts, up to date and making sure that things are getting done. So that is going to be good. And then we have the approval of an amendment number 2 with IMEG consultant regarding civil engineering for the Cross Street Bridge replacement in the amount of $31,000 for a total not to exceed $221,190. And this is in Ward 2 for Cross Street Bridge replacement. And then approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of San Bernardino and the Southern California Association of Government, SCAG, for technical assistance on planning for Main Street project, Waterman Avenue between Arrowhead and 30th Street and to 40th Street. So this is going to be cool for us to start looking at different variables of adjustment, investment, improvements. And so I'm looking forward to seeing, once this is approved, what all of the components of this are put together. So very exciting that we're moving forward, especially working with SCAG in this. And then, so that's just consent calendar, told you kind of a little bit, 16 items. And then for discussion, we're going to discuss the approval for the loan of regulatory agreements between the City of San Bernardino and East Street Veterans Apartment, a California limited partnership. So the city is working in conjunction for these units to be built. So we would authorize the execution of a loan, a regulatory agreement between the city and East Street Veterans Apartment for the allocation of 1.9, basically $2 million in permanent local housing allocation funds, and then $2 million in low and moderate income housing asset funds for a total of $4 million to support the development of the East Street Veterans Apartments. So veterans housing is coming, and the city is going to be a part of this development. So this will be a discussion. And so if you do want to speak to it, you can sign up during your regular public comments and address it. I know some of you are like, hey, this is really cool, and we're moving forward with some additional help. I totally agree. I think veterans housing is an absolute necessity, and we should be doing as much as we can. So very good on item number 17. And then we have an ordinance read only for chapter 8.24 of Title 8 of the San Bernardino Municipal Code relating to construction and demolition debris of the recycling program. And so this is just updating existing language as the state has broadened the definitions within the scope of what demolition debris recycling programs contain. And so this will be us just adhering to those local rules. But again, you can definitely comment on that if you feel the need. And then we have 3 items to be considered for future meetings. So Councilman Flores Councilmember Canas is asking staff to bring back the consideration within 45 days to adoption update to the San Bernardino encampment ordinance to define persisting camping, prohibit encampments in sensitive areas, and establish progressive measures for multiple refusals, and a no unsanctioned drop-off ordinance requiring documented consent, receiving provider acceptance, 48 hours advance notice to the city, and penalties for violating agencies. So that's a lot. And then, which I hope, all of this stuff, I mean, we've seen like a barrage of like, let's talk about homelessness. All of this stuff really needs to come to that big meeting. And I hope we end up having this big meeting where we can discuss, one, how much we can do, what our capacity is to do it. And so, we're coming down to the end of the year. And so this may be something that we can have part of that. And then consideration of bringing back the Veterans Day Parade for the 2026 calendar year This is from Councilman Flores. Historically, the parade concluded at Second Lake, where the community gathered to celebrate and pay tribute to local heroes. To ensure a successful and inclusive event, is requested to explore partnership opportunities with local veteran and community organizations, including but not limited to the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, Disabled American Veterans, Chapter 12, Inland Empire Military Museum, and City of San Bernardino American Legions and Veterans of Foreign Wars. So possibly bring that back next year. And then I am asking for us to, and I don't know if you guys remember, so we have approved a that we're doing a pavement evaluation plan right now. So if you guys, maybe 6 months ago, there was this really cool van that's that we had out in front of our meeting, and it showed like all this amazing equipment where it's looking at the consistency of streets. It's doing a huge data analysis of everything that we ultimately need to do with every street in our city. And so that is supposed to be coming back to us at some point. What this is we've seen, different matrix come back, different pavement plans, about what it would take to get our streets up. But no council has ever put together a funding plan. And so I think it will be super cool, possibly, we'll see, if we as a council finally say, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We see the need, and let's see what we can do. I mean, it could be 5, 10, 15. It can be, a combination on this is what the investment would be: heavy, medium, and light, but at least we would be able to have a clear-cut way in looking at all funding opportunities. I know we always talk about different things. So we got like our Measure S funds, Measure I, cannabis, property sale reimbursements, franchise fees, impact fees, grant opportunities. I mean, these are something that we can even go out and bond on. So that's all that is. And, I just figure like, hey, like either we're going to get it done or we're not. And so that is my item. And then we will give our city council updates and reports on our conferences, and then we will adjourn. So got a pretty big agenda, but I mean, nothing super, I didn't see anything super controversial for open session. And if you guys have any additional comments, again, like I said, this is going to be running and you guys have all night to discuss, but please don't hesitate to comment and reach out. And as always, I hope you guys have a super great rest of your week and you stay safe out there. I know it's been warm, but I hear it's going to get cold. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful evening. Good night.